White House is defending the president's decision, insisting the crisis at the border is a very real threat. Top Democrats vowing swift and aggressive action to block the declaration. Even some Republicans are coming out against the controversial move. But the president and his allies are standing firm.
This is an emergency. I mean, what are we on now? The fifth caravan? So I would just ask those senators, how many caravans do we need? 6, 7, or just an endless caravan, the one that never stops?
To take money away from defense, from DOD, in order to build this wall that is essentially a campaign promise, I think is really wrong priorities, and I think it's very harmful to the country.
Certainly the expansion of authority Congress has given past presidents. This president has the same authority. I wish he wouldn't use it in this case. But again, I understand his frustration.
We should take action to disapprove of this excessive use of executive power and make it clear that the Article 1 branch, the Congress, is going to jealously defend our right to be the body that decides on federal spending.
He could choose to ignore this crisis, choose to ignore this emergency, as others have, but that's not what he's going to do.
Griff Jenkins live for us in Washington. So, Griff, the White House is facing these challenges on multiple fronts. What is the latest?
Heather, good morning. Yeah, the White House is digging in for a major fight, and it's going to be incoming from every angle. Democrats are unified in their belief that the president has grossly overstepped his authority in this national emergency declaration. And when House Democrats return from recess next week, they plan to move forward with a resolution opposing the declaration. Congressman Adam Schiff noting that this was an unprecedented move.
Is this the first time a president has tried to declare an emergency when Congress explicitly rejected funding for the particular project that the president is advocating?
Now, such a resolution would then need to pass the Senate, where Republicans still have a thin majority if it was going to have any binding impact. But when senior White House advisor Stephen Miller weighed in, you just heard from him earlier, he indicates that the president's fully prepared to defend his declaration, even if it means issuing the first presidential veto if Congress votes to disapprove.
Obviously, the president is going to protect his national emergency declaration. This is a threat in our country, not overseas, not in Belarus, not in Zimbabwe. And if the president can't defend this country, then he cannot fulfill his constitutional oath of office.
This is lawsuits are already underway. Heather, California's Attorney General Xavier Becerra says his state will file, quote, imminently, to block the emergency. And they are one of as many as 5 states expected to bring lawsuits. And they're following groups like the ACLU and Public Citizen who have already taken legal action.
Yeah, now a lot of protests apparently planned for today. What do we know about those? How large are they expected to be?
Well, they could be massive, to be honest with you. More than 10,000 people are expected to take to the streets coast to coast. There's more than 240 actions across the nation, calling it President's Day protests organized by a coalition of several activist groups led by MoveOn.org. Their goal, fight the president's national emergency declaration, demanding Congress swiftly overturn it and address what MoveOn's campaign director Emma Einhorn calls, here's the quote, "This false crisis is an illegal, unconstitutional power grab that undermines American democracy to advance his racist agenda." I just got a note. I covered MoveOn.org's rise to prominence when they mobilized hundreds of thousands to oppose the war in Iraq under George W. Bush. It will be interesting to see what they turn out coast to coast and whether or not they'll have an action meeting President Trump tonight or this afternoon in Miami when he addresses a group on the situation in Venezuela.
Yeah, we'll see if they come close to the 10,000 number they're expecting. Thank you so much, Griff.